So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this second Q&A clinic for this month for PMS Product UI and PMS API. So I am Caterina Scarpati from Change Management Team from PMS. And I have here Veronica Lipucci Di Paola, who is PMS product owner, and is here to answer your questions today on product UI use or application programming interface use. So I will share my screen now. So just some housekeeping before we start. So this session is being recorded, and the recording will be made available through EMA YouTube channel and on the event webpage on EMA website. In order for you to ask your questions, you will be able to use the interaction tool Slido. I will give you details in a moment. So you can join Slido either by going at slido.com and inserting the code PMS QA2, or you can just scan the QR code here on the slide. When you join Slido, you can enter your question, or you can also check the questions that are already present. You check if someone has already asked us a question similar you would like to ask, and you can like that question. Indeed, we will respond to questions live in order of upvotes. So the most upvoted ones will get an answer earlier. So I encourage you now to go to slido.com and start sending your questions. We are here to answer. Oh, and also, we also have here today with us Andre Idu, who will answer as well your question. And he is a sport architect.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, here we have a first question. How can I use Postman?
Andre, do you want to take over? Thank you.
So Postman is a free tool that you can download online. I think you may also be able to just run it in a browser. But if you go to, I will try to see if it's postman.com, and then download it and install it locally, then you'll be able to use it. Yes, you also need to sign up. It is a free sign up. Yeah, that's all I can say. We don't. It's not the EMA that owns this tool. So please also see the how-tos and help that I think the Postman website offers.
Thank you. Is the bug fixed for match and merge, or do I still need to report via help desk issues?
So, colleagues, thank you for this question. There are still some bugs that we have recently identified, and this is mostly due to the match and merge protocol. But if you notice that, it would be very helpful for us if you can submit it as an issue, data quality issue in service desk at the EMA, because then we can further investigate and group them to make sure that they have all the same issue. On another aspect, if you notice this, the recommendation would be also, first of all, to try to submit an update in XVMPD. So in this case, if you do so, the match and merge protocol for those products that it didn't at the beginning, for which it didn't run the protocol in PMS, should run in this case. So if you can still try to do an update in XVMPD and wait a couple of minutes to see if this is reflected and the match and merge works, then you can avoid to open the ticket issue. If it still persists, please open the ticket so we can further investigate. And I don't know, Andre, do you want to complement this answer?
Yes. So just to clarify a bit about the progress we've made in the past months since the initial load and the initial match emerge. So there were several various issues related to data quality or to data mismatches or to assumptions of how data is represented between the data that we loaded in SIMET and XCVMPD, which led to a series of match and merge issues. So it wasn't just one bug, but indeed, okay, at the end, the issue was related to CAPS data not being match and merged properly. So we have fixed most of the issues that we have identified. I think we still have open one where on package level we're not setting the EV code of an authorized product from XCVMPD properly. And that will be in production this week. So in principle, everything that we are aware of has been fixed, but indeed, as Veronica mentioned, please first try to submit an update through XCVMPD that should trigger a match and merge, and if that doesn't work, please open or that doesn't have the expected results, please open a issue as Veronica requested on service desk, and we will look further into it. Thank you.
Thank you. When will EMA publish last week's 16 July Q&A doc and recording, please? So I can answer to this one. Concerning the recording, this has been sent for publication. So I think in the next days, we should be able to have it ready to publish it on YouTube and on EMA event webpage. Concerning Q&A documents, we are not releasing a Q&A document per Q&A clinic, but we are actually working on an FAQ document for PMS, where we have the most frequently asked question per topic, per main PMS topic, for example, API use, POI use, etc. And we are collecting there all most relevant questions that could be useful to many people from the Q&A clinics and the webinars we held. So hope this clarifies. Thank you. Go to the next question. We are not able to view our data correctly in PMS UI. However, after opening a ticket, ServiceNow team told us that data is displaying correctly in PMS API. How to access PMS API? Can we view PMS API even if we are not using Gateway?
So to answer to the first bunch of questions, so if you notice indeed that the PMS product user interface doesn't display correctly the data, you did correctly. You should submit indeed a ServiceNow ticket. Now, there is a question that comes to my mind because I noticed many tickets that have been opened with the wrong labeling. And if it's open with the wrong labeling or with the incorrect product mentioned, like EAF or XCVMPD, it doesn't land to PMS, or it takes more time to land to our team. So I would encourage, I'm pretty sure that you did it correctly, but just to be clear and to remind to the colleagues, if you notice any issue, please click on the report an issue with the PLM portal. There is a guidance in the PLM portal mentioning a section called support, an explanation on which is the correct labeling to be used as a problem area. If you notice these errors, this type of products, data quality, you should be selecting PLM portal -PMS product data. In this case, the ticket will land straight away to our PMS PUI team and it will look at it. Now, I don't really know which kind of ticket was it and who managed that, but if you can contact us officially and send us an email with the ticket, it would be helpful so we can retrieve the story back. So we cannot investigate because even if the PMS API shows correctly the data, there are few layers, few steps before the data are propagated and landing into PMS PUI. We have an IRIS dataverse, so we need to investigate whether the issue is at the level of IRIS dataverse or whether the issue is at the level of the PUI. So PMS API is the first step. I need to check the rest. So it would be great if you can share with us the ticket, even as another comment. Then regarding PMS API, I will leave the question to Andre because he's the most expert on it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So the newly published chapter 1, and I think there will be a new update, explains on how to gain access to the PMS API, for which you need specific credentials. And then, yeah, please refer to the demo we did on API use from a few weeks ago, which I hope is published, which shows you how you can use the tool Postman, which I demoed, to use the credentials generated by our system and access PMS API to see the data directly there. I'm not sure what you mean by not using Gateway, though. But in any case, the documentation and the webinar that we did should have enough information for you to get started. Thank you.
Thank you. ISO 8MP specifies more substance types like reference specified substance and specified substance. When EMA will implement these concepts as part of UIG?
So you're correct. In ISO 8MP, there are two different types of substances. So in the UIG, we already mentioned the substance per se and the reference substance. Regarding the group, as mentioned in one of the standard, the ISO 8MP, there are different groups, SG1, SG2, etc. These groups are not yet planned to be implemented into PMS because there is an activity that is still ongoing on the SMS side, which is data cleansing and the preparedness for the submission of this type of information in PMS. What you can do, if you open SMS, you can see that many substances all the substances that are created are already classified as per ISO 8MP. So where is the link here? By the time you will see, we will be opening the edit functionality in PMS, the data, and even already now with data loads from XUMPD and SIAM, the substance records that are migrated and you will be able to submit in future by yourself in PMS are already ISO 8MP compatible, even on at the level of the specified groups. The difference is that you don't see the type of SMS records because this information is available in SMS. This question might be related to the calculation of the PHPAD, which is something that we don't plan for the moment to implement. But it's definitely in the radar for the future. For now, we're focusing in enabling the functionality, the basics functionalities for you to read the data, make sure the quality of the data are okay, and also to submit a bunch of information for, as a matter of priority, the ESMP deadline. So we're going in a step-based approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Will the delta between the PMS data elements in PY versus API will be published? What's the plan to remediate and keep them aligned during the maintenance phase?
So I understand this question. So there is an activity that we have recently, well, we didn't identify the recently. We always have in the backlog, and now it's time to prioritize it, which is indeed the need to track each data elements across the system. So in this case, we already have XUMPD/SIAM2 PMS. So this part it's done and we have it. It's in chapter 7, publicly available. But what is missing for us is a tracking of the each single data elements from PMS API to Iris Dataverse and from Iris Dataverse to PMS PUI. So this activity, just for transparency, is not only needed for externals, because of course it gives you the understanding of which elements it still requires to be integrated and where it's coming from, but is also very much needed for us because it facilitates the investigation and the addressing of the incidents type. We do have this tracking at each single database level, but we lack. We need to create a file that's merged them all together. It's not only for, if I can add one more information, it's not only for me a value for PUI users, it's also a value that should be extended to other product users, for instance, ESMP or even EAF users. There is a need to transparently share each single element where it's connected to which product's element. And sorry, Katerina, I forgot. We will be scheduling this activity for Q4 because now the capacity and the resources all focused on the release of the current committed tasks for the edit functionality.
Thank you, Veronica. When the final version of the tables mentioned during the webinar on 11th of July will be published? NCA's national codes and detailed lists of critical medicines with PMS IDs and product EV codes.
So this question is mostly for Marcos, and I remember I have requested it. I need to figure it out when it will be available, but I'll write you the answer in the slide directly. Apologies, I can't retrieve it now.
Okay, thank you. Is it okay that I do not see in EMA account management portal in the menu for manage access the request API access?
It depends who you are. So if you are an NCA user in EMA account management portal, you won't be able to see an API, request API access. This is because we had to temporarily block the API access for NCA. So for the moment, NCA can only read data in PUI. For the moment, we have only CAPS, and from September, there will be also landing NAPS progressively. If you are an industry user, this is not correct. So you should be able to see that, and please report it via a ServiceNow because we need to investigate. Unless Andre wants to complement, but this is the status.
Thank you. What does the field package made correspond to, please?
Okay, I think you're referring to UAG chapter 2 because I noticed the same is a typo, and it should be package AID identifiers, but I'm not sure if you're referring to chapter 2 or to PMS API. So if you can also submit the same question specifying what did you notice, I can also further check because I noticed something wrong in the UAG and I'm fixing that. Thank you.
Thank you. When will PCID be populated?
So the PCID, as you know, in the UAG chapter 2, there are, to calculate the PCID, you need to submit, there is a need to submit a specific data elements. For instance, it can be the manufactured item, it can be the medical devices. So these information are currently missing because if you match the chapter 2 information versus the chapter 7 data migration rules, you will notice that we are enabled to, in the first hand, to calculate the PHP to the package ID. So it's not possible to do so until we are able to open the edit functionality from a user perspective and enable the user to submit the whole, the entire data set. So it's so-called the enrichment process. We are, as I mentioned, working for the moment as a matter of priority to meet the legal deadline to enable the edit functionality and PMS API and PMS UI by end of Q4, very beginning of Q1 for specific data sets. In this case, the data sets is focused primarily on the submission of any data elements that will be used for ESMP platform, from the ESMP platform. And progressively, we will be opening the edit for more and more classification. Now, the question is quite tricky and complex because, as you know, the PCID, the defining elements to calculate the PCID, are elements that are also shared with the XVMPD. So it's not straightforward that we enable all the data sets to be submitted in one go, because we also need to make sure that the data from PMS are also landing correctly and kept up to date in XVMPD. What we want to avoid is industry users to submit twice in XVMPD and PMS. So we are trying to mitigate at the best. So we will announce it later in the year, the plan also for the added functionality and the go live, the several go lives, in the same way we did for the read API and PY.
Okay, thank you. Next, can we get timelines for data enrichment for all PMS missing fields like shelf life, data carrier, devices, etc., with priorities?
Yeah, so this is linked to the same as Jean-Michel. Yeah, it's the same answer, but I see you mentioned data carrier. So we would like to prioritize the data carrier submission along with the ESMP data fields. So for us, we are working hard to prioritize this submission and enable the added functionality at the end of Q4, very beginning of Q1. And why I say Q1 is because we need to involve the testers from industry in the same way we did for the PY testing for the beta UAT in March and in November. We would like to open a testing with the stakeholders to make sure that it works. As usual, Q4 is quite strict, it's quite short, so we hope to do it in the mid of Q4. So if everything goes well, we can open it end of Q4. And if it takes a little bit more time, we already anticipate the very beginning of Q1. The rest, shelf life, devices, you made a point. So we need to be clever when we enable the edit functionality. Why I say that? I say that because the priority should be given from our point of view. Of course, we still need to agree with the SMEs and PMS industry and NCA. We also have Dino as a network product owner, the strategy. But the best would be to enable the data submission of non-XVMPD shared elements. Why? So because in this way you have just one submission, and you don't need to keep also XVMPD aligned until we are able to fully load the data automatically from PMS to XVMPD. So that's why I was mentioning there is a strategy behind that we need to agree together in a quite transparent and clever way as well, with the minimization of the impact for industry. Thank you.
Thank you. How to access PMS API, I mean URL?
Andre, are you there? If you can take it, otherwise I'll reply.
Yeah, so
thank you.
We missed providing this information in the initial publishing of Chapter 1. The new version will include the detail of what is the URL for the PMS API. I'm not sure, Katerina, can I paste that in? Is there a chat to this WebEx that I can paste? What is the proper URL?
Just maybe you can. So you can.
I can reply
in
the
Slido,
yes.
or you can just post yourself like a question, and you can pin it so everyone has.
I will do both. Okay, thank you. Yes, so I'll reply to the question in Slido and also post a question, which will have that information.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So when will the PMS API training session recording will be available? I can respond to that. It should be available today. So check YouTube this afternoon, and yeah, it should be there. Can you kindly suggest how we can very soon possibly get the synchronized term names list before the autumn season, besides download static RMS, OMS, SMS lists from Sport Product UI?
Via the so I don't know, Andre. I think this is they can connect via the API, but you can also access via the portal in the Sport portal if you register. But in this way, you can only extract the data. You cannot synchronize the term. You should be using the PMS API. And
yeah, so I'm not sure I understand the scope of the question either, but in principle, let me just explain how to access the different APIs. So this year we released PMS and the SMS API. You need to make separate requests for those. And they follow the similar approach with OAuth 2 and client credentials flow. And then you have to build an integration for each of the systems. And for RMS and OMS, they are still with the initial approach of registering for API use, and then the credentials will give you access to both lists and organization data. So I hope that helps. So you can register for each of these systems and then integrate and get keep synchronizing on a schedule, for example.
Okay, thank you. What does package MAID, package status ID, mean in PMS API? So this is also similar to the question we had before, where the person who asked actually specified he was referring to PMS API as well. So if you want to.
I'm looking in the API and I don't see any package made, but I suspect this could. I need Andre here. Is this the naming of the technical stable package identifier? Maybe. Otherwise, we will check.
So package MAID. I'm not familiar with that.
Like
maybe it's package manufacturing authorization identifier, but then we don't use that terminology on the API. As far as I know, there's a fire identifier that has the system as marketing authorization number, if that's just the case. And then a product definition fire resource also has a status. However, we set that only for nullified packages currently in PMS, and we're also changing that. So I'm not sure. But there's no package status ID though. There is a status under package product definition.
Unless this is referring to the RMS ID. But if you don't mind, colleague, would you please submit my ticket in service as a question and address to me under my name, so it can land on me and we can check. Maybe if you can touch some screenshot, it would be great. Just to see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's wait for that. Thank you. We can have a last question. When is VMA planning to publish the updated Chapter 3.2 of XCVMPD and the national codes list from national agencies and the updated list of critical medicines, please?
So indeed, this is a question that I need to retrieve from Marcus. I will reply to you in the straight away in Slido, because I was expecting this already to be available, but it isn't. So I will reply to you right after the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. So unfortunately, our time for today is over. However, as we said, we will publish the recordings of this session and last last Q&A clinic as well. And then we'll have many other opportunities throughout the year. We are already planning a second API training in September after the API becomes also available for NCAs. And as I mentioned also earlier, we will also publish the FAQ document for PMS. So yeah, just stay in touch with us and just check regularly the PMS news page on PLM portal to have all latest news and events advertised there. So thank you very much, Veronica and Andre, for responding to all the questions. And I invite people who have attended also to respond, as usual, to our quick survey post-webinar, so that you can leave us your feedback, let us know how it went, and if you got your questions answered. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.